y'all. It's one of the fun nights tonight. It's a book launch party for Miss Frankie Hambrick Capers. And we're going to be talking about her book, The Night the Lion Slept. Whoa, somebody just dropped something. The Night the Lion Slept. So, Lydia, take it away.
Well, hey, y'all. I'm Lydia. I'm the what? Oh, stand by.
To enter, for those watching, to enter into the giveaway, all you honestly have to do is comment to the side, and I will enter you into the wheel of names, and we'll spin it throughout the night. Okay, so go for it, Lyd.
Whoop, whoop. So yeah, please comment on in the Facebook comments, and you too can win a book. So I am super excited to be here with Frankie. She has had such a cool vision for several of her books, and we were very blessed to work with her on her last book, The Night the Lion Slept. And I just think one of the coolest things that Frankie does is she does a story / coloring book. Mm-hmm. So Frankie, tell us really quickly, just kind of introduce yourself and tell us how you came up with this concept.
Well, I'm Frankie Capers. One night about 20-something years ago, I woke up about 2:30 and I thought, I was just thinking about the skunks. There was no skunks on Noah's Ark. You always see the pretty little animals. And I thought, well, maybe they thought they stunk too bad to go on Noah's Ark. And so I got up at 2:30 and wrote the whole poem. And then my son was 16 and in school. And I asked him if he could illustrate it. And he said, sure. So he illustrated it. And I didn't get it published until I retired from Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And when I moved out to the country, then I went ahead and started publishing. And that's how that came about. And it was just like story and coloring book, to illustrate it. I thought the kids would enjoy coloring what they were reading about.
Yeah, I love that idea because when they're a certain age, they want to color on everything. Right. So you might as well embrace that, and just let them have, okay, kid, yeah, color in the coloring book. It's in the storybook,
I have it for ages like probably all of them are for like 5 years old to 12. It just depends on the child themselves. Mm-hmm. And I've had mothers and grandmothers buy them and just hang on to them and wait till their child or grandchild gets old enough to color. So they, don't go too hard on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. There'll be 2 copies going to a little boy and a little girl who live in the Houston area. It just happens to be related to me and see. So John, let's bounce over to you real quick. So you're like Frankie's secret weapon illustrator. What has that journey been like for you?
That's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Like she said, I started when I was a teenager, and over the years, as she comes to me with a new idea or a new story coloring book that she wants to create, we kind of figure out how that's going to look on paper, and I'll sketch out kind of what I feel like pops to my head when I read her story, but then I kind of show it to her and confirm, is this kind of the vision that you had? And we'll tweak it back and forth a little bit until she's happy and we've worked out all the kinks. And so after I sketch it, then I'll do it on the computer and make it look all nice and pretty, and give it to her, hand it over to her to run with it. It's been a lot of fun. We've done several since then.
That's awesome. I love that it's a mother-son team doing this. I just love that aspect of it, keeping it in the family.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, yep. And I will say that working with John as the illustrator and me doing the layout work for the book, big hat tip to him. Super, super easy to work with. Always available for random questions that pop in my head. and his artwork is just fun. I think kids, it's totally engaging. So let's keep going around the room a little bit. Let's introduce Natrix. Tell us a quick bit about you.
Hi, I'm Natrix, the author, the creator of the Peanut Butter and Jam series of children's books. And you probably say, who is this right here? This is Mr. PB&J. Basically, I have books for ages 3 to 4 and ages 5 to 10. The ages 3 to 4, my early readers. Again, I very much believe in the earlier that you introduce terms and you introduce words to children, the better they will become as readers. And if my age is 5 to 10 years old, I have a glossary in each book, and I also write in stair steps. So each book increases the amount of pages as well as the amount of definitions that are in the book. And again, as you're reading, as you grow further, you want to be challenged. So that's what I do.
I love that little glossary in the back.
Oh, you like, yes, the glossary. Most definitely. I mean, like I tell a lot of people, probably people get tired of hearing the story, but basically that came about because when I was growing up, when I would be reading and I wanted to know what a word or something meant, we had dictionaries back when I was younger. They have Google and all these other social other platforms. But so I would ask my dad, like, hey, what does this word mean? He'd be like, go look it up. I was like, you know what, you're right. So I said, why not put it word in the actual book where I actually highlight the words, and then when the children are reading, as they're looking at the words and they see words that are highlighted, they know that's a special word. And so if they don't get the definition or the meaning from the context clues, they can always go to the back of the book and use the glossary and look it up.
Very cool.
Let's love that.
To Cindy. Cindy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic up here in Maine.
Rub it in. It's 102 down here in Texas today.
Yes, it is.
We're having a lovely, lovely summer. And
you're out of the deep snow, which you have to deal with that us Texans don't. So
I know, but I think I'll take it the way it is. So things are going really well. And this is my second year as a children's author. And what motivated me was my great horse, my Palomino Sandy Boy, and he just whispered in my ear that he had some great messages for children. And in today's crazy world, children have always had conflict, have always had concerns, uncertainty, anxiety. And so Sandy Boy said, besides having children ride me, I could probably send messages. So that's what started the books. And so we have 2 out, and we're closing in on a third. My illustrator is almost done with all the artwork that will soon be headed to Lydia and things. And so it's kind of exciting to have a 3-part series, all hosted by my horse. And kids really respect animals, love animals, and in many times that's who they want to listen to. And so it's easier. The stories are set up so that there are some areas for soft discussion where questions are posed to children, and where somebody that's reading with them or in a group setting, they can discuss those issues, and Sandy Boy helps guide that discussion. So this latest one we're working on has to do with helping friends, and how long do you work with a friend who is struggling, and some of those decisions that we have to make. So we're excited.
Awesome.
We're excited to be part of Texas Sisters Press, and we hope to continue this relationship for as long as my brain goes.
Awesome. We love you too. Let's jump down and say hi to Diane, and we're going to go deeper into each one of these guys in a little bit. So just know that we're kind of skimming the surface right now. Hi, Miss Diane. Diane, you are muted.
I laughed when people were talking, and I don't want to interrupt anyone. So it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Congratulations, Frankie. I am so excited about your book. And what an incredible title. I was like, when I saw that title, I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Thank you.
It's amazing. And how wonderful to have your son, John, drawing. That's incredible.
It's a blessing. It sure is.
It is very special. So thank you for letting me join you guys tonight. So I obviously am a children's writer, and I love writing stories to inspire kids to love themselves. I like writing stories about being kind to one another, peace and harmony. So I'm a Pollyanna, basically, for those who know who Pollyanna is. I just think I don't understand why everybody can't love one another. So,
amen, sister.
Yeah. So if I had a magic wand, there'd be plenty of food in little kiddos' bellies and adults who are hungry, as well as you know, politicians, they can just go have a mud bath and let the rest of us be happy. So that's why I write about peace on earth. So there you go. That's me.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a little bit of time and just kind of talk to everybody. Lydia, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Can you tell us what you write, why you write, how you write, and how in the world we started this mess called Texas Sisters Press?
Well, you know, I've always been a storyteller. I love stories. I grew up reading and all that. Our mom was a 6th grade teacher, so you know, we couldn't help but read. But it's funny because there was a time in my life, if a book didn't have a horse in it, I didn't read it. And so, you know, when I saw Sandy Boy for the first time, I said, absolutely, we're doing that book. And he's a very wise horse. So I write for middle grade, sort of that 5th, 6th, 7th grade level, and probably, you know, I'm channeling our mom or something as I write some of those books. But I also write illustrated books for the little readers. I have tons of fun with those. In fact, I'm going to be giving away one of my little story collections for little readers, and this is for that little kid that, you know, is working on numbers and working on colors, and you can, you know, read to them and they will eventually begin to read. I remember that magic moment. And when I was about 5 years old, my dad had to read to me The Case of the Cat's Meow over and over and over and over again. That book is still available. I would strongly suggest that you go get it if you have a little one. It's an awesome little book. But I remember that magic moment where my dad was reading and all of a sudden it like clicked, that little light went on. And so that's why I get so excited about helping authors, publish children's books, and all of your creative input within your books. You know, Frankie's got the coloring pages. Natrix has got the stair-step vocabulary, which is so amazing. You know, it's kind of like, I wish I'd have thought of that. You know, the life lessons that, you know, that Diane and Cindy, you know, weave into their books without making it so obvious. It's great. And, you know, and working with my sister has been an amazing journey. I mean, she's okay. This is be nice. All right, be nice to CJ for like 5 minutes, and then I'll get over it. But no, she really inspired me back in the 2015. She had published her first couple of books, and she had read one of the rough drafts of The Nightmare King, which was my first middle grade fantasy, and she basically put a boot in my behind and said, you need to rewrite this book, you need to publish this book, you know, let's get going, you know. So she was my motivator on that. So and one of my biggest cheerleaders. So I you know, kudos to my sister. All right.
Okay.
Quit being nice. Anyway, but we started Texas Sisters Press basically to publish our own books, to republish the ones that we had already published with another publisher. Because by that point we had kind of figured out, hey, we can do this, you know. And then we basically experimented on ourselves to make sure we had kind of ironed out most of the kinks. And then we opened the door to other authors on a limited basis, because, you know, we have lives, we both have farms, you know, and while we would love to do this, you know, 24/7, we can't. So but we are super excited to have worked with every author that we've worked with, and met some of the coolest people on the planet, and that's other authors. You know, Natrix, we don't publish his books, but he's like a buddy. He's awesome. And, you know, we love promoting his books. And, you know, the community of authors is some of the most generous people on the planet. And I think we can all nod our heads and say, yeah. So, so that's, you know,
we're kind of all in this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when we all work together and promote each other, and we all strive to put out quality books. It makes everybody better. So because I do have another commitment coming up, I'm going to punch out probably a little bit earlier than everybody else. That's why I'm going first. We're not trying to hog everything, but I am going to give away one of my little readers books. The collection 1 has 4 stories in, or 3 stories in it, and collection 2 has got 2 stories in it, mainly focusing on Granny and her cat.
So it would be 1 or 2.
1 or 2, whichever one.
So we're going to try to get more people to talk. Remember, all you have to do is comment, and I will enter your name into the wheel of names. It's about as easy as we can possibly do. So just kind of send your comments in there, and we'll go from there.
All right. And since I am going to have to punch out a little bit early, I'm going to go ahead and interview CJ, because poor CJ the last time had to interview herself, which gets a little weird. She's not famous enough to speak about herself in the third person. So
that's actually painful.
Yeah. So CJ,
yes,
my brilliant younger sister, tell us a little bit about what you write and why you write what you write.
And well, we call them big people books and little people books. You can obviously figure out which one's which. I originally started writing big people books. That's kind of more where my zone lands. However, since we're talking little people books, I have the Chief and Sarge adventures, and that was an accidental happening. Everybody starts kind of different ways. Like I said, I started with big people books. I'm a multi-genre, multi-award winning author. I have now 9 awards because the Chief and Sarge book actually just won an International Children's Book Award called the Purple Dragonfly Award. Just found out on Sunday, so we're super excited about that. So, but Chief and Sarge came about because we had these little guys. I collect monkeys, and little Sarge, we found a little monkey down in Camp Pendleton when we were in California, and we named him Sarge because Super Hubby, my husband, was a 24 and a half year Navy vet, and 20 of his 24 and a half years he worked with the Marines. So we got the monkey, we named him Sarge. Well, of course, Sarge, the monkey, has the natural tendencies of a monkey, a naughty little bugger who gets into everything and anything, and people fell in love with Sarge. After a while, I'm like, well, he needs a brother to kind of balance him out, and so we found a koala and named him Chief because Super Hubby's a retired Navy senior chief. And so we have Chief and Sarge. And just like his counterpart, the koala is pretty much a nutritional type animal, very laid back, which is exactly the opposite of the naughty, chaotic little monkey. So it gets kind of cute. We do have now with them, we have stuffed animals that you can adopt. They come with a little adoption certificate, which is a great way to talk about like adoption to your little one. They may know somebody who is, or they may themselves may be adopted. So it's kind of a great way to open that door. And I have a new illustrator as of A Day at the Races, A Lesson in Friendship, Davy Jones, who is from Charmy's Army. He's the illustrator of the comic. And with him, the way he does it, we can kind of be a little bit more elaborate with the stories, which includes a life lesson. In this case, it's a lesson in friendship. Then we're working on the next book, which he will start diving into probably in August. So there should be another book coming out soon. But we're pretty excited about that. Trying to think anything else. No, that's about it. Did I hit anything, Lyd?
No. I will brag, another quick brag moment on CJ. See, I have to be nice to her, because we're online and everything. It's like a rare occurrence. No, she, her half of Texas Sisters Press, she's really taken the reins on working with authors on social media, and just she'll take you from the ground up. I mean, some folks have come with like a 0 social media.
Had to create manuals.
Yeah, to people that maybe they have a website, they're doing pretty good, but they need more help in like creating author one sheets or speaking, understanding speaking engagements and how to do that and all that. So I got to give her a big thumbs up on all that. And anybody who knows us knows that I moved and built a house last year. So there was a lot of stuff that got dumped in CJ's lap. I was like, no, you got to do this. You got to. So So big props to Baby Sis. She did a fabulous job with all of that. So
Awesome. Thank you.
And what are you going to give away?
I'm
CJ?
going to be giving away a paperback version of the newly award-winning. I'm kind of going to ride that for as long as I possibly can. Deep in Charge, A Day at the Races, A Lesson in Friendship. But again, to be entered in, all I have to do is comment over to the side, and I will enter your names in. You don't even have to do anything, and we'll spin them at the end. In the meantime, Frankie and John, both congratulations on your new book coming out.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And thank Frankie's daughter, Wendy, is it?
Tammy.
Tammy. Thank you for creating her website, which you can actually go to and you can check the book out for yourself. It's the booklady-frankie.square site, and you can order books from there. The various authors as they talk, their websites are popped up on the bottom, and you can check them out. If you're on the Facebook group, it shows up there. If you're on the YouTube, it shows up there as well. But make sure to comment over to the side, and I will enter your name in throughout the time.
Awesome. Well, CJ, who should we talk to next?
Go ahead and we'll go for Natrix.
Natrix. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Let's bounce back to you.
All right. What's going on?
Well, I'm intrigued every time we talk about this this idea that you had for creating sort of different levels of reading and encouraging kids to expand their vocabulary, to stretch a little bit, and you give them the tools to help do that. So talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, so and I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so we're going to start with my ages 3 to 4. As I stated before, the earlier you get words and terms to kids, the better they're readers. So kind of think of it this way. And again, I'm a little older. We're all probably a little older. When I was growing up, we had books, real simple stories. This is Dick. See Dick run. See Dick run up the hill. See Dick run up the hill for water. See Dick run up the hill for water. See Dick. Just real basic rhyming. So the way that I structure my early readers for ages 3 to 4, real basic. You're introduced to the words by rhyming, about patterns. So then what I do is that each of my early readers focuses on different blends. So for example, the Vern the Cat, Peanut Butter and Jam, the Vern the Cat that I'll be actually giving away tonight, it deals with AT and AS blends. For example, Vern is a cat. Vern's a cat that has a hat. Vern's a cat that has a hat and a mat. Vern's a cat that has a hat and a mat that is flat. And then we circle back to Vern is a cat. Just kind of circle back. And then you get a word list as well as you get word and picture association. Again, you're associating the pictures with the words. You get an opportunity to see the words without the pictures. And then the coloring sheets are in the back of those. So again, you have 3 opportunities that kids can see the work. So again, that's for that. And then for my stair set, well, again, for my ages 5 to 10, that's your kindergarten to, I think that's 4th grade age. Well, again, as you're reading, you want to be challenged. That's the whole reason for reading. You read to challenge. You want more challenging books. Well, with the story of friendship, not only do I have different stories, all the stories about friendship, honestly, from a story of friendship to Bootsy Gets a Sister to and Jolie Makes 3, and finally Make Room for Bonnie, which is the 4th book in the series. Well, the beauty of it is that each book increases in the amount of words as well as the amount of amount of pages. So again, but the way that they're reading is that you don't necessarily have to have the first book to understand the second book, to understand the third book, to understand the 4th book, because they're all independent, but they're all connected. And that's kind of how I, throw it out there. And and so basically it's for the kids, getting it for the kids. That's the whole thing, getting out there for the kids, get out there for the reading, and just improve their writing, because if you're a good reader, you're a good writer.
Good deal.
Awesome.
So you just you're having a book come out.
CJ, really?
See, I know too much. That's part of my problem.
Yeah, you really do. So what I'm doing, so the first book, A Story of Friendship, I'm actually putting out a 2nd edition of it, and this should be coming out in November. Awesome. And I'll also be starting up another early reader series. So this early reader series, the Vern the Cat early reader series, which is 5 books. I'll be starting the Otis the Pup early reader series, which actually is where Otis is coming in. So you get Otis the Pup.
Oh, cute.
Ages 3 to 4, and then putting some adventures together for him. But I also, just to let everybody know, is that I also have a podcast. Well, and on my podcast, all the stories are all independent stories. That link tree that you have, and if you click on that, it's going to give you the link to my podcast, my YouTube channel, as well as all social media. Well, the beauty of it is that one good reason to, I guess, to stay in touch with all of it, because each platform has a different story. So the stories that you'll hear on my podcast, you won't hear on my YouTube channel.
Very cool.
And I do TikTok too. So just FYI.
I want to jump back to Frankie and John. So when you guys have more than actually just the lion, Night the Lion Slept, though. You guys have done more than that. What else do you guys have out there? Because this one's new to Texas Sisters Press, but you actually have more out there.
Yes, I have 6 more published. So this one's my 7th book that's published. And like I said, it started in 2015 when I got that one published. And that's because John had illustrated it. Was special to me, and I wanted to at least get that one published. And so after it got published, I thought, I think I can do some more. So I went on a cruise to Alaska, and I went out on the whale boat and watched a mother whale teach her baby to breach the water. And I thought, well, maybe she's also telling him a family story of when his great-great-grandfather, old Barnacle, swallowed Jonah. And so that's another Bible story, because the first one was Sniffy and Susie that thought they stunk too bad to go on notice. Oh, he's got this.
Got it.
Yeah. And so I wrote that. And while I was in Alaska, I bought the little baby stuffed whale. So I have a stuffed animal about 8 inches for each book that I've written. And when I go to book signings, I take them and that draws the children in, and I get to give a 30-second snippet of, synopsis on each book. And so the mothers or dads, they don't just say, do you want one? They say, which ones do you want? So that makes me feel good. And then the third book I wrote was about Rosebud. She was born in my flower bed. It's a little fawn. There's Rosebud.
And again.
He not only does the illustrations, but he also does the covers for each one. Wow. So Rosebud grows up, and I take pictures throughout, and then I put them on my put them in the pages when I self-published. I put the pictures with it. But when John started doing the coloring part, he's really getting busy, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that anymore. But I would take the pictures that I took and put them behind the words, and that way I was self-publishing that. So it made it pretty cool. But she meets another deer when Santa Claus comes and goes down my chimney. She sees a red glow, and so she goes out to the backyard, and she has a new friend. So it goes from family stories, the Sniffy and Susie. It tells the story to children that God has a purpose for everyone. So if they're bullied or feeling bad about themselves, then, this book kind of helps them say, hey, we have something important to do too. And then the whale tells the family story. We need to keep our family stories going so they don't get lost down in the generations. Mm-hmm. And then Rosebud is a friend. Everybody needs a friend. Even if you just see them once a year, you pick right up where you left off. And then the next one was Dayton, the rescue dog. My granddaughter fostered Dayton from when she went to Texas A&M. And Dayton's a real dog. And she ended up adopting him. And now she still has him. He's got gray hair. He's just the sweetest dog. But he goes on a camping trip with them. And there's a surprise at the end of that one. But Dayton is a real dog too. And then Hamlet was the next one. Hamlet was a little pig that my granddaughter, I have 10 grandkids and 16 great grandkids. So, they all inspire me to write stories. But Hamlet was a little pig, and he had to be put outside because he was just too noisy. He's too bothersome inside. Well, Daisy, the farm dog, went chasing after a squirrel, and so Hamlet just followed right after Daisy. Well, Daisy came back, but Hamlet didn't. I thought, poor little thing, I want him to come back. And so I wrote a story how he gets lost in the woods, but he comes back. He meets Omelet the rooster, and the rooster crows toward the east every morning and helps him get back to his farm home in Arkansas.
Hmm. Nice.
It's a cute little story of how they help each other. You know, I have to think like an animal because there's no people around. So what would an animal do to help each other to get out of tight spots and get back home to where they belong? So that was that one. And then Sammy the suitcase. That's the sixth one. It's a series. It's not an animal, but it's a suitcase. And it was inspired by, he travels all over Europe. That's the first book. I'm working on the second book now for John to illustrate. But one of the clowns at a civic center when we had our book signings and kind of a carnival was there blowing up balloons for the children. And I went and interviewed him, and I got his permission to write a story about him. So then I decided to write. He had this inspiration about the book, and so he told me I could go with it. So I made a 3-book series out of it, and I'm working on the second one for Sammy's adventures that he goes. It's kind of like you see he meets all these famous suitcases wherever he goes, you know, like Vera, and he meets Louis and all these other first name only wonderful bags and friends that he
Right.
takes everywhere he goes. So it's fun. And then we have this one about Daniel chapter 6 in the Bible is where Daniel in the lion's den, where I got this. And, you know, they couldn't speak or talk when this man went down in their den. And so Leo, the father lion, is telling his cubs, Lily and Levi, the story of their ancestors, that their ancestors have passed down. So it's in the viewpoint of the lions as well, where they're talking about what happened when the man was put down in their den years ago. And I chose that because the lion is the king of the jungle, right? And so then the king in the Bible with Daniel was a king. So it compares the kings too and their power that they have. So it's a sweet story. I think it's one of my favorites. Of course, they're all every book you write is your favorite. You know that.
It's always your baby as it's coming out.
That's right. So yeah, I'm excited to. I enjoy writing them, and since I've gotten, I'm not totally well, but I'm well enough from my COVID pneumonia experience. Just this past February, I'm doing really good compared to the time that that I've had that.
Yeah, because we were actually ready to launch the book in, I think it was February
That
initially.
February is when we were going to launch this book.
And she came down with COVID and then pneumonia, or whichever one came first, but they came one on top of the other. And we were a little worried there for you.
Yeah, I was
very
I was in the hospital all of February, so my kids were just.
They were fantastic. I will finish that sentence for you because they kept us posted. They kept us in the loop. And what made our hearts sing, and now I'm going to get a little misty too, was, John and I were talking, and he was like, one of the first things she said when she woke up was, "But what about my book?" And we told John, "Please tell your mom, chill out, get well. The book will happen."
We got that end covered. All you have to do is just get well. We got it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, she was very concerned. That was one of her highest priorities.
It's just like, please,
Hey,
sure,
if it was a motivator to get you well, then I'm glad it worked.
So John, from the illustrator point of view, well, first of all, how's it working with your mom? And second of all, how do you come up with these adorable ideas as far as illustrations go?
Well, it's really easy working with her because, obviously we have a great relationship. And so, sometimes if I'm stuck in a point where I'm trying to figure out how to convey her vision and I'm struggling with it, sometimes she's open to the idea of changing a word or two in her story so that it kind of makes more sense artistically. But basically, I kind of pretend that I'm a reader for the first time when I look at her poems and whatever's in my head when I'm reading that, because we all just kind of have that imagination going when we're reading somebody's book. And so I'll kind of, whatever pops into my head that I think would be fun for kids to look at and to color, and try to balance not putting so much detail in there that it gets frustrating for little kids, but enough detail to get her point across. And so I just kind of work on that, and I'll get 20 pages or however long the book is, and put those pictures together in pencil form, because that's kind of how I enjoy working, is just pencil and paper to start with. And then once she says she likes it, then that's kind of the finished process right there, where they have a colored part. Some of these books are designed that way, where they have a colored portion they look at, and then they can color it in on their own, and just go from there.
So
I think that helps them, I think, to feel like they're part of the book. They're part of
it helps reinforce the story itself. So whose idea was it initially to do like a partial coloring book, partial reading book? Was that yours, Frankie?
Well, yes, at the beginning, because I put the, like I said, the first book, the publisher put the color there, behind the story, behind the words, which put color in the book. And then the children could color the picture on their own. But then after I self-published, I started putting the pictures that I had taken, like the pictures from Alaska. I would wrap that around and use that. And when the whale actually fell in the water and I took a picture of that, I took that picture and put it when I was talking about Jonah being thrown overboard. So it looked like the splash, I tried to make that, but I wanted color in there. And so my daughter in Arkansas, she thought, well, maybe it would be better, and if the colored could be on both, have John would do the coloring on part of the first page. And because all my poems, all the books are in poem form, except, it's a story form. They're all stories, but it's like in poem form. And have the color on the top of the right, and then the children color the picture themselves on the right side. But on the left, would be the colored. That part was my daughter in Arkansas idea. But it's getting a little bit, when you get, like my son said, thousands and thousands of hours to try to put all that together and color part of it too, it's a little overwhelming. So I'll probably go back to the first books like I had them, with just the story on the left and the pictures. The picture for the kids to color on the right makes it easier.
I just think it's adorable. Now, all your books can be found on your website, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's booklady, one word, Frankie.square.site.
Right.
So we're going to continue on because we're watching our time here, because I know Lydia's time is limited as well. Lydia, before I jump in, do you want to jump off, or do you want to hang out for another interview? You're muted. Lydia, you're muted.
Yeah. Okay. If you guys can let me go, I figured that out. Yeah. Okay. If you guys can let me go, it probably would help me go ahead and do what I need to do. But again, mega kudos to Frankie and John, and
thank you.
Yeah, just the best of success with this wonderful book. And if you've never thought about what the lions thought, in the story of Daniel and the Lion's Den, well, now because you got to get Frankie's book and read it.
Lydia, before you go, can you show quickly those who are watching the books that you're giving away, one or the other?
Yes. In book one, this collection is Derek Goes Exploring, Billy Likes to Count, and Where Did Bobby Go? And then book two is Go Granny Go and Granny Loves Cats. Granny Loves Cats is a counting book. And Granny keeps finding cats. And when I wrote it, my best friend said, you're writing your future. I said, absolutely.
I'd have to be there.
My goal in life is to be the.
We appreciate you coming in, because I know that it was a quick stop for you because you have to, unfortunately, go to work.
Yes. All right.
Thank you, Lydia.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, Lydia.
Bye.
See y'all soon.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
So back to us now. Are you afraid? You should be. So we're going to jump over to Miss Cindy. Cindy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. It's so wonderful to be here and celebrating an author that I really hadn't known about before, and now meeting her and her son and their story, and seeing how so many of our stories kind of have different paths, but they all have the same goal, and that is, providing a positive impact for children. And we can't have enough of those. And it's just really an exciting thing.
While we're talking to these folks, those who are watching, who are just joining us, all you have to do is comment to the side. And when you do, you'll be entered into the Wheel of Names to win prizes like the books Lydia showed, or like My Chief and Sarge, or Natrix's book, the Vern the Cat book that we've already talked about. And then we're going to find out, we still have Cindy and Diane to talk to find out exactly what they're going to be giving away. Oh, and Frankie is giving away a paperback of The Night the Lion Slept. So, Miss Cindy, tell us about Sandy Boy.
Well, Sandy Boy is the most marvelous horse in the world because he's mine. And I've always loved horses and been involved with horses, but never had the opportunity to own a horse. And so it wasn't until a few years ago that I was able to find this lovely horse, and he agreed to come and be my buddy. And we've had a marvelous time. We're both aging together, so we have a lot of wisdom to share with children. And so he whispers in my ear different things that he's noticed about the barn, about he lives by the ocean and what he sees. And
I'm jealous about a horse.
Hmm?
I'm jealous about a horse living near the ocean.
Yeah, so he has a wonderful place. His pasture is up on a hill with nice breezes overlooking the ocean, and so he can look out there and see the waves. And he and his friends have a wonderful time. And it's a great experience when I go and get him and I say, okay, you're going to take Mama on a ride and let's go. And so we ride out in those pastures and we get up on these hills and just look out at the ocean and just marvel at God's creation and how beautiful it is. And it's been awesome. But horses can also tell us a lot of interesting things because they are very emotional beings. Mm-hmm. And so, and how they react and everything. And so, I got talking to my good friend Diane, and Diane, who was right there with us. And she suggested that I should write some children's books. I said, sure, write. What am I going to write about? And then she said, well, how about the horse? I said, well, let me think about that. And so I got into writing the first book and talking about Sandy Boy and his new home, because he came to me from a woman who had to let him go because there was a lot of illness in the family, and talking about how sad it is to leave somebody. But then it's also sort of exciting to wonder where I'm going next. And is this going to be my forever home? And so it really became a springboard for children to get involved with, when you move to a new neighborhood, across the country, a new school, how do you make new friends? And it shows Sandy and how he is out there in the pasture and some horses run away from him. And he goes, well, they don't even know me. But, kids go through some of those similar things. But it was really neat to be able to have Sandy Boy talk to children about what it's like to move. And I just posted on my Instagram that it's a great book to be read now, because at the end of the school year in summer, a lot of kids are moving, things are happening, and getting ready for a new school, new friends, new neighborhood. It's a great read for that. And so that's just how we really got started. And then after that, it's like it's CJ's favorite season up in Maine is winter. So it's just appropriate that we should go ahead and come up with some kind of a Christmas story. Mm-hmm. So it's about Sandy Boy and the blizzard and what happens with the blizzard and with all of his friends. And it ends up where he looks out and he can see the star shining in the sky, and he begins to understand what Christmas is really like. So wonderful stories. I've just had a fun time doing this and things, but it just keeps you going, keeps you being creative. And so we're working on a third story now. And again, it has to do with friendship. And I won't be able to give it all away, but he has a friend, but it's not another horse or a person. It's very different. So the difference in different types of friends that we can have and the impact we can make on those friends is just really, really exciting. But when I started doing all this, I said, how am I going to do this? Who's going to, get an agent? I don't want to do that. That's hard. Who's going to illustrate this? Because without good illustrations, as we all know in children's books, you lose the message so much and everything. So little did I know But in my book club, there was this wonderful woman called Judy Gaudette, and she would do watercolor illustrations, send us Christmas cards and everything. I went, And so I sat down with Judy and I said, would you ever think about doing this? And she says, well, sure. She says, I even took a class years ago on being a children's illustrator. I said, no kidding. And so that's how we got together, and she's awesome. And what's also so great is that she knows Sandy Boy. And so she's got a real feeling for the horse and that type of thing. And so all of her illustrations, it is the horse and all the scenery and everything. It just brings the story alive. And so been very, very fortunate to have her and introduced Diane to her. And I've had to struggle because Diane wants to use
her arm wrestling over the poor woman.
So we have to share my illustration. but it's great fun. And so I'm really looking forward to getting this third book out, and never really thought that I have a 3-part series with my horse being the star.
I think it's adorable. And you can find her books on cindywrites.com. Cindy, what are you going to be giving away today?
I'm going to be giving away a hardback of Sandy Boy and his new home,
showing off some of that Judy Gaudette adorable
beautiful artwork and everything. So that's what I'll be giving away. And a timely one for the summer for a child that you may know of that's moving or having to deal with some of that. And Sandy Boy can really help.
Awesome.
Oh, the other thing that's really cool and is that the font that we're using is the dyslexic font. And so many children now have issues with reading because of the font that's in the books. And so Diane happened to be talking about that and found some of that and shared it with Lydia and CJ. And so now all of my books have that font so that it doesn't look that different from a regular kid. But if you're dyslexic, you can really pick up on the difference in the shading of some of the letters and things. And so teachers really, and parents, the dyslexic font really expands the possibilities of the book being used by other kids.
But see, it's kind of heavier on the bottom, if you can see in my picture window.
Yep.
Yeah.
How it's heavier in the bottom, and that helps the dyslexic kids to figure out which way the letters are. So it's very cool. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. For those watching, if you have not commented, please comment over in the side. You'll get to share your comment, but we're also going to enter you into the giveaways. And last but not least, definitely would be Miss Diane Floyd Bame. Hi, Diane.
Hi. I'm so excited about everybody. My goodness gracious. Everyone's such great authors.
She's our Texas Sisters Press cheerleader.
I'm a Texas Sisters girl. And I'm so glad that Cindy brought up the dyslexia font, because that's such an incredible font. And I plan on having all my books turned over into dyslexia fonts. But Texas Sister Press, I'm so excited. A Song of Peace, and
which happens to be what?
Oh yes, I just won an award, so it is a Story Monster approved, and that's huge too. So I'm very excited. It's my very first Story Monster approved, and I'm excited for Texas Sister Press as well as my illustrator, because as Cindy said, illustrations make everything. And Judy. And by the way, I knew her too through Cindy, but we're all friends. So as soon as Cindy told me her secret, I'm like, well, I like Judy. Anyway, she did a fabulous job. And I'm excited about this story. It came out way before. I wrote it. It took a while to get out, but it came out before we were ever thinking about the Ukraine and different other things that are happening. But I really wanted to think about how to have a twist on what a lot of people talk about, which is peace and peace on earth. And so this one has a real twist that I'm not going to share with you. You have to read the story. But I think the beauty of this particular book is it's intergenerational. It's about a little boy, Tommy, who is at a playground with his mama. And all of a sudden, he just jumps off the merry-go-round. And he just starts singing, peace, 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 peace. And I'm sure he sang it in a boy's voice. But anyway.
Which makes still have sounded like that if his voice didn't change. So
Yeah,
that's
but, that's a really good point. And so along comes Mrs. Seals, who's actually a real person in my neighborhood. She was sort of like the neighborhood mom. So she was really excited to be in the book. And they take a little stroll around the park, and he explains why he wishes there were peace. And so there's a lot of opportunities for discussion and so forth for the reader and everything. And Judy did such a great job of showing the word peace in different languages. And because if you want peace on earth, you should share languages. And something magical happens where even the whales are singing peace, and the angels are like, oh my gosh, finally, somebody really wants peace. I think I'll wake up and see what we can do. And we go from there. So I'm very excited to share it with you. And
you also have some other good news coming up. Our next.
Yes. So we're having a cover reveal on July 26th. I'm very excited for another Texas Sister Press. Am I allowed to say the title?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the title is, I wanted to make sure I didn't do anything wrong.
So they didn't do anything. What is it?
A Time to Fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on a little bluebird. And this really happened at our house. I had a flower pot hanging up on a little post, and I was in the middle of changing the flower pot to a new, not the flower pot, but a new flower. But I was taking too long. And so I saw one of my daughters was visiting, and I saw her up on a ladder peering in, and she discovered there were some bird eggs in there.
Oh.
So to make a long story short, we watched these little birds hatch and grow.
Don't give too much of the
story. Okay. And I'll wait till the book review. But anyway, it's a beautiful story, and I'm really excited.
Is what day?
July 26th.
Okay, and the actual book launch, which should include
August 2nd.
Still here. It's August 2nd. So that's our next book that's going to be launching. Yeah. So you can find Miss Diane's books at dianefloydbame.com.
Correct.
So we're super excited. And we're excited for her new launch coming up. So the time has come.
Yay.
I love this part. Did we lose somebody? No, we did. We lost Lyd. So we're going to start with Lydia's. Now, remember, if anybody knows who these people are, let me know, because then you guys can get their addresses. So if you haven't commented, you better do it now, because we're going to start spinning the wheel of names. In the meantime, as we're doing that, I've put up a address down at the bottom, because Texas Sisters Press is a proud sponsor of the Kids Summer Reads for the Lone Star Literary Life. And so you can go to those. I know that Diana's part of that. I'm part of that. And Lydia is also part of that. But they have books for young readers. They have books for little readers. They have books for middle grade readers. And they have books for young adults. So all of those books are listed. You can go to the one that just the welcome page, and you can find out, what age group is what you click on. They have them divided up by age groups, which is super cool. But again, Lone Star, or Texas Sisters Press, is a proud sponsor of the Lone Star Lit Kids Summer Reads program. So make sure to check that out today. So we're going to start with Lydia's. And Miss Lydia, her book was the early readers. You had a choice between book 1 or book 2. And so let me share the screen for the Wheel of Names. This is how it works. This is the fun part. So, everybody see? Okay, so everybody who's commented so far, their names are on there. So here we go to see who's going to win Lydia's book. It's on there. No, it's on there. It is Miss Kathy Deal. Does anybody know Kathy Deal?
I do.
Okay, so Frankie does. Frankie can get me their address. That way I can get that to Lydia. Right. And so the next one, make sure there's no more. Congratulations, Kathy. So the next one is going to be for my paperback of Chief and Sarge's A Day at the Races, A Lesson in Friendship. That is going to It's going to my husband. Because I think we already have that one. So we're going to respin that one. That's going to, it's going to laugh if we're going to. Tammy Pettis. Does anybody know Tammy Pettis?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going, Frankie's going to get the address for that one again. Okay, and then the next one is going to be, who did we talk to? Oh, we talked to, we'll do Frankie's. Frankie's paperback, The Night the Lion Slept. And the person who wins that is going to be, wait, she's already, well, does she have that already, Frankie?
Who?
Martha?
No, she doesn't have it.
Okay, well, let's see what's going to. Going to assume you know her by the middle name.
Yes, I know.
Okay, that's who she's getting it. And then we're going to Natrix's Peanut Butter and Jam Vern the Cat. Oh, wait. We need to respin that. I forgot to take Martha's name off. Sorry, I've already called it. We're respinning it. So, work with me. Okay, we need to respin that for Peanut Butter and Jam. That goes to, it goes to him anyway.
It was meant to be.
There you go. And I know that one. So I'll get that from him. And then we're spinning for the hardback of Cindy's Sandy Boy in His New Home, which is going to Wendy Gunn. Who knows that person?
It's my daughter.
Okay, cool. So that's another Frankie. And because we already have the Song of Peace, I'm going to go ahead and just say that Danielle Zarn is going to win the other one. Who knows Danielle?
I do.
Frankie for the score all the way through. Okay, Frankie and I need to talk afterwards. So here are the winners again. We have for Lydia's, Kathy, you need to let Frankie know whether you want book 1 or book 2. Book 2 is the one about the granny. Book 1 is the one about the various little guys. And that is going to be for Lydia. You need to let her know which one she wants. And then for current comment, for me, it was, I need to find me. Where am I? I'm here. For Chief and Sarge, that was one by Tammy Pettis. So Tammy, I'll get your address from Miss Frankie as well. For Frankie's, of course, that's Martha Hambrick Moreno who won that one. So you can handle that as well, I'm assuming. Then for Natrix's, let me find his. For Natrix's Peanut Butter and Jam, Vern the Cat. That's one by the Con Hour, aka Greg. I'll get that for you. And then for Miss Cindy's, for Miss Cindy's, that was one by Wendy Gunn. She's going to be getting Sandy Boy in His New Home. So I need her address there. And then for Miss Diane's, where is yours? I know it's here somewhere. Trying to say everybody's up there. Okay. For Miss Diane's, that was one by Miss Danielle Zarn. She'll be getting a paperback of the Song of Peace. So in the meantime, please make sure to, again, check out the Lone Star Literary Life Kids Summer Reads program, of which Texas Sisters Press is a proud sponsor. And Miss Frankie, congratulations. We're so excited for you. Well,
Thank you.
Well deserved.
John.
John, that's a lot of work. So congratulations to you as well. You guys did an amazing job. And we're so excited for you guys. Anybody who wants to order one of Frankie's books, you can check them out on her website. That's booklady-frankie.square.site. And the illustrations were done by her son, John. It's a family affair. So in the meantime, stay tuned for July 26th.
Yes.
Is the cover reveal for Diane's book. And then the book launch is August 2nd. Same time you found this one. And that's going to be, what was the title?
A Time to Fly.
A Time to Fly. So stay tuned for that news coming in a little while. In the meantime, you can find us at texassisterspress.com. Stay tuned. A lot of S's. TEXASSISTERSPRESS.com. Have a great week.